Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today, Monday morning, November 16th, 2020. Wow, we are, we don't think about this, Linda, but we are halfway through November already. Thanksgiving's next week, Thursday. The Survivor Series is coming up this Sunday. It's the Sunday always before, Thanksgiving. Wow. Good morning, Linda Kay. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Meathead. Yes, time is just flying by, but in regards to how am I feeling this Monday morning, I feel amazing because the Green Bay Packers had a victory yesterday, indeed.
A rough-looking victory, but let's be honest, folks. Pay attention to the weather. I mean, I know you guys saw what happened in Cleveland. They had to pause the game for a bit with the nasty lightning going around there. We had 30 to 40-mile-an-hour winds again. The last two games at Lambeau Field, actually, I mean, just nasty wind gusts. I mean, just gross. So, yeah, the game, it wasn't the rollover on the Jags that we thought it would be, but to be honest, it was a win, so who cares?
Yes, we'll take the W.
Take the W. 7-2 Green Bay Packers in first comfortably, and we haven't even played the Bears yet, so that'll increase our lead after that. So, but you didn't call here. You didn't dial in. You didn't, download this podcast to listen to us talk about Packers Bears because, I mean, there's no competition there. You did, however, download the podcast to hear us talk about wrestling and to hear us talk about our sponsors, Manscaped.com. They have been well into men's health, and they are also making you look silky smooth. Get yourself over to Manscaped.com, and the promo code PWR will save you 20%, as well as getting the free shipping. You've got all the gimmicks over there, the Lawnmower 3.0, the entire care package, which comes with the ball powder, the shorts, the, all the oils, I don't know if they're rubbing berries under there or what they're doing. I've got the lawnmower, but I mean, get yourself cleaned up, get yourself silky smooth, and then our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com, 10% off with PWR 360, some of the latest and greatest gear. I've got to get warmed up now. Sadly, I won't be able to show off all my collar and elbow brand gear at the GLCW shows this year. Obviously, we'll be going to those shows again next year. No Blizzard Brawl this year, but I'm excited to have my stuff, and at least everybody in the grocery store knows what I wear because that's pretty much it. Can't wear it at work, so when I go to the grocery store, they know I'm rocking collar and elbow brand.
Yeah,
Linda, do you have
half
winter
of my
gear?
I was gonna say half of my closet is collar and elbow gear, so I've got it all nicely hung, ready to go when we have our next GLCW show. I mean, I wear it outside of our wrestling shows, of course, but It's always awesome to wear my next one, my new one, every time I would ring announce a show for our good friend Dave Hero. But, I've got them all neatly hung in the closet, ready to unveil as soon as possible.
So I had asked, I don't know if you caught it, but do you have any winter gear? I mean, I know you obviously wear the smallest, the cuts, the shorts, but do you have any winter gear? Anything covering you up?
That is on my Christmas list. So,
okay.
Yes, not yet.
Well,
I like
to
hold on to the warmth as long as possible, Meathead. All right. I like my tank tops and my t-shirts as much as possible. But yeah.
I don't wear the thinner stuff just out of respect for the others. I don't really care what I look like. I mean, I'm going to put on whatever I want, but for the neighbors, for the police, I got to keep myself covered. So, folks, we don't have a ton to talk about, but one of the most pressing things I do want to talk about this morning, and it's kind of news that popped over the weekend. A friend of the show, a friend of Dave's and a friend of all of ours here at the PWR, Zelina Vega was released from her contract this weekend at WWE. Now, initially when the news broke, the tweet that broke along with it from Zelina was she supports unionization. I don't think that's it. I think there's more to the story. We have more details on that now. We didn't really think about this when it came out, but now that the details are out there, and this could be, speculation, this could be conjecture, but it makes a ton of sense. Pre-COVID, unprecedented times now more than ever, blah, blah, blah. The wrestlers that might not have been getting the big guaranteed contracts were getting that low, guaranteed base, had to find another way to make money. And what they were doing was they'd get money off of, merch, and they'd get money off of really house show appearances. So now that the house shows aren't there, they're not traveling, they need another way to make a couple more bucks. So what's been happening is these wrestlers and performers with the company have been reaching out to third party, contractors technically, and the Twitches, the other streaming platforms, and they've been making a couple bucks off of that, the cameos, what have you. So WWE over the last few months has come down pretty hard and said that that's it, you're done, no more, we're not having it. To be honest, it cut off a revenue stream for them. And, wrestlers and performers, are people too. You got to make as much money as possible. I never begrudge any professional athlete and professional performer for not earning as much as you can, as often as possible, while you have the opportunity to do it. So a person that gets $100 million contract in, professional sports, I don't have any problem with that. If that's what the market pays, go get your money. You deserve it. That's what you can earn. However, the performers, the WWE performers, they are still listed as contractors, and they have to try to go out and earn what they can. But the WWE stopped that. So, Linda, your thoughts on Zelina, one, stepping up and saying that she's in support of unions, two, refusing to give up her WWE fans only site on Twitch?
Well, first off, what a strong, brave woman to really stand her ground and speak her mind, say her piece. I mean, we've all got to make a living, and if you've got strong case to present, obviously we don't know what the numbers were, but if her third party outside gigs or what have you, I mean, if they are contractors, right? So obviously different type of industry as far as being an independent contractor, but there's some flexibility with being a contractor, a little bit of freedom that's supposed to come with that.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So to have a lot of that then stripped from you, and most importantly was, say your primary source of income, then that becomes an issue. And you got to take a step back and think like this is, in her case, I can't speak for her, but obviously a great career, dream job, what have you. And then also on the personal side, your life, taking a big hit. I mean, unfortunately, this pandemic, who could plan for that?
No one can.
Yeah, but, you're in a good spot, living well, living the dream, working with your husband, her and Aleister Black, and it's like, wow, you got it all. And then for this pandemic to hit and then just change everything, okay, everybody around the world has been affected by it, obviously, and financially. But in her case, I mean, running her own brand, doing her own thing, being the star that she is, and just, having interactions with fans. I mean, that's a great thing mentally as well to get you through everything going on, all the changes. But then to have that ability, the capability to do that, then just taken and then not really having much time to really figure out what can be done to help supplement this income or, just my happiness in general. Right. So her coming out, I mean, obviously when WWE announced to its contractors, the talent, that you can't be a part of Twitch, Cameo, whatever you're doing before, that has to end. I feel, maybe others to have spoken up, or maybe they were too scared to, and for her to get on that pedestal and speak her mind. And, first of all, strong woman, very strong woman. You got to commend her for that. Unfortunately, the news over the weekend was very shocking to me. And I, with her being the only one that, that I'm aware of that was released, in this manner within the past couple of days, was very surprising and unfortunate.
It's tough. It's absolutely tough. Yeah. I don't like it at all. I do not know her personally. Now, I know that Dave knows her personally, and Dave knows Aleister, and we'll talk to Dave more tomorrow morning, hopefully, but I don't like it at all. It's what it comes down to is indentured servitude. So if you're a contractor and don't get the benefits of being an eternal employee, but you're told you can't do anything else to supplement that income, because again, really their main money was pay-per-view, checks, network, merchandise, and going out and getting house show money. Now, way back in the day before network, before a lot of the pay-per-view, talents used to be able to subcontract themselves out to other wrestling companies. Right, WWE is the only one that locks it down to 100% no side deals. Now, I know that AEW has had their talent on occasion show up at other shows. Maybe I'm not saying to go run the AEW. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is maybe AEW might be a place where you can go, work a couple matches, make a couple bucks, and maybe they allow you to be a free independent contractor, make money wherever you got to go. Again, do some cameos, do some, I know that there's a lot of wrestling performers out there that are looking to make a couple bucks. They do these virtual autograph sessions. So, they're meet and greets, and you sign up and you get to talk to them, and they'll send you the autograph through the mail. So I wish the best for her. I want her to be able to take care of herself, take care of her family, make her money. I know there's some news out there floating around, not confirmed, but Aleister Black is asked to be sent back to NXT.
I did read about that too. Yeah. Who knows if that'll happen? I mean, if that is true, that's just showing them not being happy with what's going on.
Right. So you got to do what's best for you, end of the day. And I applaud her for doing what she felt was best for her. So I wish her the best. I'm not going to say future endeavors because it's WWE's term, not ours. But I wish her the best. Happiness and stability. That's what I wish for.
Indeed.
Let's talk about another friend of the program, Kevin Nash. Kevin had talked a couple months ago, had reached out to The Rock and said, hey, I'm sorry to hear that your family got the Rona. My family's got it too. Here's the irony of that whole story. Kevin Nash apparently will be starring in a new upcoming movie called COVID-19. I mean, literally it's called COVID-19 Invasion. And he is the star of the movie. And the promo pic that's out there is a pretty pissed off. Have you seen this picture yet? It's a pretty pissed off looking Kevin Nash with a gun pointing right at the window. Or right at the camera.
Oh, no, I must see this.
I implore you to go dig COVID-19 Invasion, Kevin Nash. Here's the tagline for the movie. Chinese bats invade America. It's up to Navy SEAL Team 6 to stop them. Well, all right, then.
I wonder how big these bats are in the movie. Is it meant to be kind of fantasy, sci-fi, or realistic?
Is it meant to be like Shark Week? No, Sharknado.
Sharknado. Wow. Well, I mean, it is nice. I mean, gosh, this is going to sound bad. Obviously the whole COVID situation is not a good thing, but if you're going to show some light toward it, have it be a little fantasy or just a way to show, this is a way to get rid of it, it's showing some light to the situation is what I'm trying to say. But no, Kevin Nash, dear friend of the show and of PWR and a lot of us personally. So I am excited to see this.
And again, kind of leaning into the Zelina story, but with Kevin Nash, I'm glad to see you're working. That's all I've ever wanted, really, out of anybody that we know, talk to, whatever. I'm glad to see you working. Glad to see somebody's paying you, and I'm glad to see that you're taking care of yourself. That's all I care. That's really all I've ever cared.
I feel like this is the first, I guess, action or cinema type kind of movie surrounding itself around COVID that I've heard of. I'm surprised
it's not sooner because obviously songs have come out already. I got the Rona. Isn't that like a hip hop remix now?
I'm not sure, but
I have no idea. I don't listen to that stuff. You know that.
Wasn't there the song with an act? My Corona. Oh,
yeah, Sharona. My Corona, My Bologna by Weird Al.
Yes.
Yes. It was My Sharona by the Kinks.
It's the Knack, I thought.
You know what? You might be right and I might be wrong. The Knack, I think, is exactly right. But it was My Bologna is the one I know from Weird Al.
Yes. Sorry, I just got to mention Weird Al now that you mentioned it. Do you know that I once got to be one of his backup dancers at a show in Milwaukee?
Really? Was that the Summerfest one or where was that?
It was the lovely Riverside Theater. It was a thing where they would go, different cities, and
of course,
I would get to, two girls from each city get to perform behind Weird Al during "Smells Like Nirvana."
Oh, so with the lights out, it's less contagious.
No, we were. Well, if you remember the video, there were the cheerleaders.
Yeah, of course. Did you have the hairy armpits too, like the cheerleaders did?
Maybe. But that was an awesome experience. Having our own dressing room, and we didn't really get to meet him, but enough to where he side of the stage while he was about to come on stage as fat, like the fat version of bad Michael Jackson. So he was waiting on the side of the stage next to us, and he did give that smile, like head nod, like kind of like thank you for being a part of the show. So, anyways, I digress. But you mentioned awesome. Weird Al. Just a fun fact about Linda Kay. I got to be a backup dancer for Weird Al Yankovic.
I said the Summerfest one only because that's the only time I've ever got to see a show. So I was hoping maybe just through random coincidence I saw you on stage and didn't know that I saw you on stage. That was the only Weird Al I went to. Nice. Weird Al, for you guys that don't know, and Linda knows obviously too, for all those, he changes costume through all of them. He wears every costume.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
So let's talk SmackDown before we go into my love for Weird Al Yankovic. I'm surprised this hasn't happened earlier, but it finally happened this last Friday. Someone from Raw showed up on SmackDown. Yes. Drew McIntyre journeyed to SmackDown to confront Roman Reigns. Now, coming up tonight, we're going to have Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, one-on-one for the Universal Championship. What are your thoughts? I mean, as we kind of talk about Raw tonight as well, what are your thoughts? Does Randy Orton hold on to the belt? And is it true that goes one-on-one with Roman? Or does Randy hold on?
It's got to be Drew. Why else would he have had that confrontation with Roman Reigns on SmackDown? Or is that too obvious?
For WrestleMania, maybe?
Okay. So, okay. I can see that too. But I was just thinking, in my mind, like, that just makes sense for him to appear on SmackDown, have his confrontation and his beef with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, but particularly Roman Reigns, for him to then face him. I know it's non-title at Survivor Series, but it just seems like it would just fit nicely with how things are moving along with the setup.
Now, me being the selfish type, I wish that match was on pay-per-view because that would be a title win for the man they call Meathead because he has Drew McIntyre. Mm-hmm. But I'll take the appearance points by the Universal Champion.
Yes.
So, I don't know. It was interesting. The match, obviously, on SmackDown wasn't Drew versus Roman. It was Drew versus Jey because Jey does Roman's bidding. Even though this one went a little different. Jey jumped in and says, I'll take you. And Roman went off on him and says, you don't speak for us. You don't speak for me. You shouldn't speak at all until I tell you speak. I paraphrase. But Drew McIntyre.
That's pretty right.
Easily takes care of Jey Uso. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we've pretty much figured that. But I don't know. I thought the setup to that match was well done with Jey coming out, and I know Roman was pissed that he spoke for him, but him coming out, getting in Drew's face, and I loved the moment where he was holding the mic, Jey Uso, and then Drew was about to talk, and he drops it out of his hand. I was like, ooh, juice of the oos.
Juice of the oos. So, every time I see the juice word, I think of Juventud Guerrera, right? The juice is loose.
Yes. But the match itself, I mean, I figured it would be a victory for Drew McIntyre and just, putting more heat on between him and Roman, getting us more invested into this Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton match on Raw tonight. I think I think a lot of fans and just, me in general, you just got to root for Drew now because you want to see Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. So I feel like that's how that's going to...
Randy and Roman.
Mm-hmm. And there hasn't been a recent interaction with them other than Roman mentioning Randy in his promo at the start of SmackDown, and where Drew comes out and interrupts and it's like, I
gotta Randy. Ask you, now that it just said the juice is loose, is it just me or am I the only one that misses Mexico? I just miss Mexico when it was Hoovy and Super Crazy and Psychosis on the lawnmowers.
Yes, the lawnmower. Yes.
John Deere.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I was gonna say John Deere, then I was like, you're right. John Deere. That was tremendous.
I do miss it. It's great to be back in Milwaukee. We're in Madison. Whatever. I do miss it. Hey, Sami Zayn defeats Apollo Crews by countout. I don't care how cheap and sloppy it looks. That's smart. Sammy got Apollo Crews' foot tied up in the some of the wiring of the ring and got back in, and Apollo got counted out. I thought it was genius. I love that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is proving to be his successful shtick here, just like that ladder match where he got the IC title back, with the handcuffs and the Jeff Hardy's ear to the ladder.
And the gate.
Yeah, sorry. Visual, sorry about that. But yeah, Sammy is about shenanigans, and I think this is great with his character. What was that?
Cheeky shenanigans? Ooh,
yes.
He said it.
So, but yeah.
That's a super trooper move right there.
Car Ramrod.
Hey, Carmella attacks Sasha again. After Sasha came out. Now, was that a mirage when Bayley emerged? Because they didn't explain where Bayley went after. Are Bayley and Carmella working together?
Perhaps. I mean, that would make sense. They both dislike Sasha Banks. I mean, but then you got to feel that, Carmella's big return, that she obviously won the title and not just to try to help Bayley. Because Bayley's known to befriend her friends. So So I think that was just a mirage.
Hey, folks, get over to WWE.com and look at the SmackDown results. The screen cap for the Otis and Dolph Ziggler match, it's unnerving to me because Otis's gut is hanging over his pretty much just the angle he's at. He looks like he's not wearing really anything. It's uncomfortable. It's awkward, and he's got a whole handful of Dolph. So take a look at that. But Otis, I thought, with technically an easy victory on Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, the last time he had really anything going was Raw Underground. Right before that, they made him relevant to challenge Drew, and it was a one-off where he got traded over to Raw. And then after that,
Well, I mean, they put him back with Bobby Roode. I mean, I think them two together, or could be a stronger tag team. They are strong
tag team champions.
Excuse me. Yes. But right now, I mean, what they made them, on SmackDown, just show up, just talking smack about Otis having all the plates and sitting by himself. Okay. So it kind of, how, the shenanigans. So here I go with the shenanigans. Miz and Morrison are the tag team that are the goofballs,
right.
That I feel fit that role well. Yeah. But then also, when you make them too goofy, does that mean are they even in the actual title hunt? Yeah. So who knows?
We were told just through commentary and the way it was presented, we have seen the end of Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins. Do you believe it?
I do, just simply because, and you guys talked about this last week on PWR today, but Seth Rollins is about to be a daddy. And
that's right. So it's about time for him to go home.
Yeah, they kept saying final chapter, which I do believe it. But then now we got the final chapter this week with Rollins and Murphy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I feel. I mean, obviously there's still the pay-per-view, but I feel like it's finally making its way to it. And it's a broken record every time we've said this or we've hoped this.
We've been doing this since WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm. But I have a bone to pick. Remember when the whole Mysterio family just completely bashed Murphy to end Raw with the kendo sticks?
And we said, what the heck? I mean, that's a face family, and they're just beating on him.
Yeah. Well, my beef is, when she suddenly just says, I love him. And I was like, well, what about that beat down? That doesn't explain anything. But then, during SmackDown, I was figuring oh, wait, this is why Murphy is all of a sudden back with Rollins, or at least making Seth Rollins believe that. And I was like, they're going to turn on him, or at least Murphy. And that's what we saw. So, but yeah,
I'm ready to be done.
Well, we have one more chapter, Meathead. One more match at least.
You mean the prologue?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Liv Morgan is going to the Survivor Series to be on the women's team, and she beat a new entrant, by the way. She beat Chelsea Green. Do you know anything about Chelsea Green?
Yeah, and what happened to her in that match, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ugh.
It sucks. She just broke her wrist, just came back. Her match with NXT broke her wrist. Yep. I believe it's the same wrist again. And I didn't even think about it during the match that she didn't return in the match. I was just thinking, this is,
well, it's funny that you say you didn't think about it returning, because while Matthew and I were doing Friday morning show, we started talking about the four-way tag team match that he was at in Virginia. It might have been Charleston, South Carolina. I don't remember, but the one where Joey Mercury got his face blown up by the ladder.
Yeah, yep, I heard that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and, even 2 minutes into the match, Joey Mercury is not even here. They sent him to a hospital. That dude is dead. He's gone. I mean, just how brutal that match was. So,
Yeah.
I mean, different time, really. And we're only talking, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, the main event was Drew McIntyre defeating Jey Uso in a quote-unquote unsanctioned match. Now, after the match, Reigns, McIntyre clearly determined to defeat Randy Orton. They face off. They just stare at each other and they glare. Fox SmackDown is a little weird because it never ends at 9 o'clock hard. I mean, it ends usually at 58. When I say 9 o'clock, folks, I mean Central, but, top of the hour. There's usually a 2-minute gap in there to get everybody ready for the local news. It's so weird that it goes off that early like that.
Yeah, we're used to the
Overrun, and Overrun's been gone for a couple of years now.
Yeah, yes, that is true.
Well, that was SmackDown. Again, we got Raw tonight. We have a tag team title match as well, I believe. So the New Day are defending against the Hurt Business. The the Universal Champion, Randy Orton, will defend against Drew McIntyre. We have action tonight on Raw. Will it be worth watching 3 hours of it? I don't know, but we'll be watching it, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow morning with David Hero. So, Linda, anything else before we send everybody on their way today?
Well, I'll be particularly tuning into Raw tonight for that tag team match because I now have my boys, the New Day, back on Team Long Time, and they're currently the champions on Raw. So they are going to be facing Shelton and Cedric Alexander in the Hurt Business. Now, the winner of that match is going to be facing Street Profits Survivor Series.
My team.
Yes. Well, I, number one, love the New Day, even outside of the draft. I love them. I'm very glad I got the opportunity to get them back, and they're champions. So
you with the quick moves on that. And then again, we opened the show with talking about how we were upset that Zelina's gone. Did you tell people how you got the New Day? You dropped Zelina. You literally just kicked Zelina to the curb. Done.
No, don't put it that way.
I'm joking. Zelina, because she was released from the company, did not cost Linda any points because she was no longer with the company. So Linda Kay with a very bold move says, "Look, I'm gonna knock her off the team right now. I'm gonna pick up the New Day for no points and try to make a move." So I'm not against it at all.
No, she was my number one pick, so I'm very sad about that. But...
Hey, Ryan Leaf was somebody's number one overall pick too, and Ryan Leaf didn't make it either. So that was a joke. Brian Leaf from the Chargers, the San Diego Chargers. Never mind. I was trying to do a sports reference there, but anyways. All right, so tonight, Raw. We've got big matches. We're going to talk about it tomorrow morning. For Linda Kay, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.